You know the criticism that's been floating out there from all different sources on mask guidance. Some people say it's been complicated or there are many different levels to it. Why not just say, if you get vaccinated, you can do almost anything?
Right. It's a really good question. So first thing to note is we at CDC have to put guidance out for individuals and for populations. We have to do it for all 8 regions of the country, whether they have high rates of vaccination or low rates of vaccination. And so we have, over the last several months, put out 3 iterations of our guidance as we've seen more people get vaccinated and less disease. And so as we have more and more people vaccinated and less disease, we will continue to put out further iterations. And we are cautious for that reason because there are still some places, some communities that have less than 20% vaccination and still a lot of disease. We still have some places in this country that have over 200 cases per 100,000, really extraordinary case rates.
You know, the flip side of how I asked that question, I don't think it's asked this way quite enough. And I do hear frustration among vaccinated people who say, why am I being prohibited from doing stuff because there are others who refuse to get vaccinated? So why not say to people who won't get vaccinated, okay, fine, but you can't do stuff?
Yeah, you know, right now we're not saying you can or you can't. These are recommendations. And for the most part, if you're vaccinated, we have recommended that you can do almost anything. We're asking that people who are vaccinated remain in masks when they're indoors.
Indoors?
When they're indoors.
Well,
but
if I'm working with everyone in my office is also vaccinated, why?
So I was going to say indoors and really in public settings. So, you know, in our private settings guidance, we say if you know for certain that everyone around you has been vaccinated, they're not at risk of, they have no high-risk people in their households, then we say in those settings that you could take off your mask.
You know, a matter of local interest to you, Brookline, Mass, down the road from where you lived and worked for years, they're not lifting the outdoor mask mandate despite your guidance. You know, what's your message to Brookline?
You know, this is going to be community by community, and some communities may be more conservative. I will tell you, I was there not too far distant back, and I saw more and more people outdoors not wearing their masks.
I want to ask you about summer camps. The CDC has issued guidance on summer camps for the summer that advises kids to wear masks except when eating or swimming. You know, outdoor activities and sports, they need to wear masks, avoid close contact sports. Dr. Dimitri Christakis, who's an epidemiologist and editor-in-chief of one of the leading journals for pediatric medicine, JAMA Pediatrics, he says this is unnecessarily draconian. What's your reaction?
You know, I read that comment. You know, here's what I think. I think that we saw last summer that there were outbreaks in summer camps and that kids had to go home. They had to not attend these summer camps. We're trying to make it possible for these kids to be able to have as normal of a summer as possible. If people are playing tennis and they're far away, we can say that their masks can come off. But if they're crowded on a soccer field, they're on top of each other, they're heavily breathing, we don't really think that's a good idea right now. These are kids who likely will not be vaccinated.
Well, okay, I mean, but doesn't the science say that you're so much less likely to pass it outside at this point? And doesn't the advantage of kids being able to do things, more things, doesn't that outweigh the very low risk?
So, you know, I think not all outside is the same. So outside playing tennis, outside swimming, all of those things where you're far apart from one another. If you have a group of 10-year-olds crowded trying to get over a soccer ball and they're all breathing heavily, I think you need to wear a mask because, yes, there's decreased infection risk outside. But if you're all breathing heavily on top of a singular soccer ball, that has the potential. And we've seen a lot of outbreaks associated with youth sports.